This brand new action RPG looks insane, epic, looks awesome. Today I have exclusive information that you probably won't hear anybody else about one of the games that has me super hyped up, and that is Atlas Falling. With that being said, let's dive in and talk about it. Atlas Falling was a game that got featured in Gamescom, and it was actually a surprise. We were really expecting it, and thankfully to us guys, we were able to actually see some hands-off preview of new stuff that the game will include that a lot of you guys didn't get to see. And I wanted to share this information with you guys because we are excited after seeing it. So this game is being made by Deck 13. For those of you who don't know who Deck 13 is, they actually are one of the companies that came the closest to creating a Souls-like game that was very similar to Dark Souls, known as The Search. For those of you who like Souls-like games, then you probably know what The Search is. Now, with that being said, guys, they switched their focus from a Souls-like style to creating this brand new ambitious open world RPG, which to me personally, after what I saw, is set to be one of the best games coming out in 2023 and has us really excited. So what exactly is the game about? Well, just as the name says, Atlas Fallen, this game takes place during the Atlas time, where there are gods in the planet. And one of the biggest problems when there's gods is, of course, they always want to take advantage of humans. And in this case, they did the same thing. What they did is they enslaved every single human being. But what you are kind of tasked to do is you're actually tasked to find a magical gauntlet that is scattered along the sands of Atlas. Now, once you find this particular gauntlet, you also have to find other sets of pieces to make this gauntlet very powerful, which we'll talk a little bit further in the video. But the main objective is making sure this gauntlet gets as powerful as you can, so this gauntlet can help you defeat the sun god who is ruling the world at that time. Now, the game features a very linear adventure, which has you visiting several semi-open areas. Now, while in the game trailer you see a lot of sand, the game is fully covered with sand, but that doesn't mean that the game is only going to be sand within the game. There's different places within the world or within the game that has biometrics, has dry sides, has covered ruins. So it's not just like you're going to be playing only like in a big sand pile, right? There's going to be multiple areas that you're going to be able to go through in the world, which leads us to the following thing, that we're going to be facing various different enemies that will adapt to these particular areas. Now, speaking of enemies, guys, this is something that we really enjoyed, and I kind of see a little similarity that they've actually taken from Monster Hunter in this particular part, because we get to see very big monsters when we're fighting. As you guys saw in the trailer, the monsters look massive and huge. Now, for example, we got to see this very massive crab-looking monster that had multiple different areas within his body that you had to destroy in order to be able to finish him. And this is where the game kind of stands out just a little bit, because the monsters are pretty good, but the fluidity of the fight or of the boss fight, it doesn't lose a beat. So it seems like you're constantly having a very fast-paced engagement with this particular boss. And with the weapons you have at your disposal, which we'll talk a little bit further, and the different types of abilities you're able to do with your gauntlet, makes this fighting mechanic very different and kind of stand out from other games that we've kind of seen already. So one thing we did enjoy about the game is how you're able to traverse through the game. I'm pretty sure you saw towards the end of the trailer, you're actually gliding throughout the sand. Now, one beautiful thing about being able to move around the map and gliding in the sand is what you're going to be able to do with this particular sand, which we'll talk a little bit further, because right now I want to kind of pretty much talk a little bit about the 4 different types of weapons that are found in the game that we were actually able to see. Now, these particular weapons, you're going to be able to combo them differently because each weapon will have its own combo, its own super and stuff like that. We did get to see the whip in action, which lets you tag enemies at a long range with flowing strikes. We did get a chance to take a look at the hammer as well, which is pretty gigantic and very massive, which just pretty much crushes down the enemies with a huge overhead swing. Now, we also got a chance to see a giant axe that deals very powerful damage and throws out projectiles at a very long range. And we also got a very big, long, lengthy sword that pretty much focuses on wide attacks, and it's pretty much done to kill the majority of the monsters. Now, they're said that there might be other weapons that we don't know of so far, but these are the 4 we actually got a chance to see. And what makes this cool is that when you're fighting the enemy, you could also freeze body parts within the enemy to deal significant damage, kind of like focus attacks on the body parts of this animal. So very similar to the way Monster Hunter works. Now, one crucial thing that we enjoyed about the weapon system is that the weapon can grow in size. Now, this is pretty dope because it makes the weapon even more powerful. And how exactly do you get it to grow in size? You're able to make it grow in size by building up attacks or building up momentum. And the more momentum you have by landing attacks on the enemy, a bar will start filling up, the more attacks you land, you will theoretically be able to fill the back all the way up, and this will allow the sword or the weapon to become enlarged and deal more significant damage when using a bigger weapon. Now, we did get a chance to see other weapons which we're not allowed to talk about, but one thing we are allowed to do is talk about the Gauntlet. Now, the Gauntlet's actually pretty special because once you find the Gauntlet, you're gonna need to find a thing called Essence Stones. Now, these particular stones are amazing. It's what makes the game very dynamic, because these stones are spread throughout the map. So it's not like a specific area where you could just go find these stones or buy these stones. You actually have to find these stones. Now, when you find these stones, you're allowed to actually slot them into your Gauntlet. Now, the beautiful thing about is once these stones are slotted, these are going to give you various powers and upgrades that you're able to do. One of the most amazing powers that you're able to do with the Gauntlet is being able to manipulate the sand. And why is this important? Is because within the game, there are hidden ruins found within the game. So if you're exploring the game and just moving around the sand, you won't know that there is a hidden dungeon or a hidden place found there unless you're able to have this particular Gauntlet fully upgraded. Now, once you have it fully upgraded, you could actually summon this ruin off of the sand and explore that particular ruin, but you first need to have this Essence Stone to be able to do that. Now, one thing we really enjoyed about the game that we overall came into conclusion when we saw is how fast-paced the game or the combat system is. It's very dynamic, it's very fast, but yet fluid and very satisfying when playing the game. Because if you think, like, if you remember Monster Hunter, when you're fighting the enemy, it's a little bit slow. This is actually a very fast-paced mechanic of when you're fighting. So it seems like the game took a little bit of concepts of Monster Hunter, a lot of Breath of the Wild, and put it together and gave us this nice, fun-looking, dynamic world that is pretty much built around exploration, finding different things to obtain, different loot to find, and just killing a bunch of giant monsters. Now, if that doesn't sound exciting to you guys, I don't know what will, because Atlas Fallen should definitely be on your radar, which we're hoping it doesn't get delayed. It comes out in 2023 for the PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC. That's another thing that we love, is the fact that this is running on Unreal Engine 5, and it's only going to be next gen only, so we are going to get full fidelity of video because they won't need to downscale to compensate for the older gen Xbox and PlayStation, so it's only coming on to the next gens, which we're really excited for. Now, talking about that, guys, you're definitely not going to want to miss what games are available for September that you definitely want to try that you probably haven't seen. Check out this video that's going to be popping up right now, talking about the 5 games that are coming out in September. In addition to that, guys, you probably want to check out this video as well, which is another really good upcoming game that's coming up very soon. So you guys are definitely not going to want to miss that content. We're going to have you guys completely covered with everything Atlas Fallen. If you love open world games, RPGs, this is definitely the channel to be. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all your notifications, and if you want to go the extra mile and show a little bit more love and support, do consider joining the Bolt Nation by hitting the join button down below or dropping a nice fat thank you. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.